professionalism and credibility. Please join me in welcoming our moderator for the Stay Woke Community Forum, CBS News Miami anchor, Jim Berry.
One, two, three. Good morning. Good morning. That's all I get? Good morning. Okay. Thank you. Make sure I'm in the right place here. I love your t-shirts, by the way. I want one. Can I get one before I leave? Okay, beautiful. You guys can help me finish these phrases. I know you can, but I just want to hear you do it for me. God is good all the time. And all the time. All right, there we go. I'm not going to preach a sermon. I just want to make sure I'm in the right place this morning. I'm really honored to be here today to join you for this very important discussion of the issues in our community and to give you this up-close opportunity to hear from the candidates who want to represent this community. It is so important, A, that we have people willing to step up to lead this community, but it is equally important that we all do our homework to know where they're coming from and to understand how they feel about the issues that matter so much to us. So that's why I applaud the New Birth family for having this opportunity here for you and for me, quite honestly, to hear in greater detail exactly where the candidates stand on the important issues affecting all of us. We got a lot of ground to cover today, so I'm going to keep it moving. You all have heard of speed dating. Well, this is going to be some speed moderating. All right? Because I know you all have things to do, and we're going to make certain that we don't waste your time. But I'm really excited that we've got people here who are willing to come before you and explain themselves to you. Of course, the primary is August 18th. Many people think that sometimes the primaries don't matter. Trust me when I tell you they do, because they set the stage for the general election. And it's important that you have a voice not only in the general election, but also in the primary. Maybe some of you have questions about the electoral process, where to vote, when to vote, how to vote, what's going to be on the ballot. So I thought it appropriate that we begin by bringing up someone who can offer further explanation about the process and exactly how it works here in Miami-Dade County. So join me in welcoming the Deputy Supervisor of Elections from Miami-Dade County, Mr. Juan Mendieta. Juan.
Thank you so much, Jim. You know, I worked with Jim in the media many years ago. He still has great hair. He still looks good. I don't know what happened to me, but I'm Juan Mendieta, and I have the honor of serving as the Deputy Supervisor of Elections under Alina Garcia. Alina wanted to be here today, but she had something come up with her family, so you got me instead. But this is a wonderful place. There's no better place to talk about democracy and elections than in the house of God. Admittedly, I haven't been here in a while. The last time I set foot in this great house was when I worked for Alex Pinellas. I was the Director of Communications during the Pinellas administration for Miami-Dade County, and I remember those wonderful conversations with Bishop Victor T. Curry. Sometimes they were pretty strong, but we were listening, and I take a lot of those ideas of fairness and justice and accessibility to this job today. And this is a wonderful job. I think this is the best job I've had. Like I said, I worked in the media, I worked in government, higher education, but elections is so critically important. And as Jim said, the primaries are critically important. There are elections for everyone. This is not just a partisan election. We have elections for judges, and we have the judges and candidates here today. We have elections for school board member and also for county commission. So it is important that everybody gets out and votes. It's what keeps our democracy strong. And I want to mention the sample ballot. We are tabling just outside these doors up front. And we have the sample ballot, which is in every major newspaper this week, at libraries, government offices, at our headquarters in Doral. Pick up a sample ballot today. Most importantly, on the cover, if you scan the QR code, you get to look up your personal customized ballot, what you're going to be voting on August 18th. And I want to mention August 18th because that's the last day to vote. The primary, the historic midterm elections are already underway. The mail-in ballots have already gone out for several weeks. They're coming in readily every single day. Early voting starts tomorrow, August 3rd through the 16th. So I know that next Sunday and the following Sunday, we're going to have some souls to the polls. But August 3rd to the 16th at 23 locations throughout Miami-Dade County. Beginning tomorrow, we have an early schedule the first week and a later schedule the second week. And weekends are from 8 to 4, so we hope to see you out there. So I don't want to take too much time, but the most important thing I want to do is thank you. Thanks for taking the time on a busy Sunday afternoon. There's a lot of things happening, and being here to learn about the candidates, to learn about this process. The most important thing that we can do is to participate in our elections. So with that, thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you, Juan. Okay, let's leap right into the meat of this program. Of course, there are some partisan races that we're going to talk about a bit later, but we're going to begin by talking about an important nonpartisan race, and that is the process of voting for our judges. Many folks wonder, why do we need to vote for the judges? But I'll tell you, if you go down to the courthouse, you will see why we need to vote for the judges. Because they are vitally important. They really shape the heartbeat of this community. They resolve disputes. Of course, they make important decisions about criminal and civil matters. So it's very important that we have the right people making the right decisions to benefit this community. And we're blessed this morning to have two candidates with us today who are running for judge. And we'd like to invite them both up to the podium. We've invited three candidates today. We hope maybe the third will arrive, but we know that two are here already. First, please welcome Mrs. Bonita Jones Peabody. Okay, Bonita, I hear you. And also with us today is Arthur Lamar Marty McNeil. Okay. Marty just walked up real cool, but Bonita had to give a little something on it. Thank you both for being here this afternoon here at New Birth in front of the New Birth family. I know everybody is eager to hear from you. So we're going to, unfortunately, put all of you on a timer. So we ask that you keep your answers brief and to the point. So you'll each have 1 minute to respond to the questions, and we'll give you time also for rebuttal. So, Bonita, let me start with you. What should voters know about you? One, two, you got it? I think they're on the way to make sure that.
I believe that I've got it.
There we go.
Thank you.
All righty.
I'm Bonita Jones Peabody. I'm not unfamiliar with New Birth. I'm not unfamiliar with the Baptist Church. I was born and raised right here in Miami-Dade County, as was my mother. I bring you greetings from New Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church, where my pastor is the Reverend Alfonso Jackson Jr. I'm an associate minister there. But I've been an advocate just about all of my life. From the age of 12, I was a Model City Youth Commissioner, advocating for a park in the neighborhood where I lived because the children had no park to play in. They listened to me, and they made the abandoned dairy farm that I suggested into a park. That park is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Park. My family suffered a tragedy early in my life. My brother was shot. My family went on a downward spiral. My brother became a drug addict. We didn't know about painkillers at that time. My parents were so busy trying to take care of him that they neglected the other children somewhat. I became a teen mother, but I had parents who prayed and who said, "You're going to be responsible for that baby. Consequently, my son went to the University of Florida with me. We graduated. I came back to Miami. I worked in my hometown newspaper. Married, had my daughter. That marriage failed. I took my children with me. We lived on campus at the University of Miami. We graduated on time. And then I came and I started working. 35 years I've worked in the courts, doing every area of law: criminal, juvenile, delinquency and dependency, administrative law, because I wanted to study to show myself approved. I've done all of that. I've trained lawyers, hundreds of lawyers who've gone out and done great things in this community.
Okay.
And now I'm coming back and asking that you look me up,
Benita, thank
be
you.
educated, and vote. Thank you.
Benita, thank you. Now we're going to hear from Mr. McNeil.
Good morning, New Birth. It is a pleasure to be back in the house of the Lord and a pleasure to be back at the Cathedral of Faith. My name is Arthur Marty McNeil, and I am a candidate for Circuit Court Judge in Group 5. That's a different race from the other candidates who are up this morning or this afternoon. What the people should know about me is that I have a heart to serve. I am originally from Fayetteville, North Carolina, but I came down to Miami as a child for vacation and fell in love. All throughout my childhood and growing up in law school and undergrad, and once we moved down here, I've been serving in the community. I've been a mentor through various nonprofit organizations. As an attorney, I've gone into our schools and educated our youth about the consequences of an arrest and how to have positive interactions with law enforcement that get them home safely. I have a heart to serve the people, and I want to be a judge for the people. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's important that people understand the difference between a county judge and a circuit judge. Benita, can you explain briefly?
Sure. The county court is considered the people's court because it is small claims. The amount of money is less. It is landlord-tenant. It is the court where you would be able to sue and represent yourself for landlord-tenant issues, for small claim issues. The circuit court is a court that deals with felony cases. It deals with juvenile cases. It deals with civil cases of higher monetary amounts. It deals with family court where you get divorce, name changes. It deals with a variety of areas in the felony courts, in the circuit courts, in the misdemeanor courts. It is the people is considered the people's court because most people that come there are unrepresented and usually represent themselves.
All right, thank you. I guess a question that many people would have, and we'll start with you on this one, Mr. McNeil, is what guiding principle would you have that you would carry with you on the bench as you make these important decisions?
One of the guiding principles that I would have on the court, on the bench, is that it's a principle that's guided my life, and it's knowing that I answer to someone else. You know, the decisions that I make, I know they affect people's lives, they affect people's families, but at the end of the day, when I am held accountable, when I have to stand and answer before the Lord, I need to make sure that I did what He told me to do, what He sent me to do, and not that I just went rogue or went on my own and just went with what pleases me or man. So I know that I have a higher authority that I answer to, and I want to make sure that I do everything right.
And Benita, your response to that question, what guiding principle would you have?
Because God is my source, I do justice and love mercy. I think that people should be held accountable, but we should do everything that we can to redeem, to restore, to make sure relationships are put back together, to take aside our biases as judges, and to rightly divide the law, to know that on those scales of justice holds people's lives, families, and relationships, and to handle it with care.
Thank you both. We're going to give you both a few moments, maybe 1 minute each, to sort of sum up your positions and why you feel it is important that these voters elect you to have that opportunity to serve on the bench. Starting with you, Benita.
It is important. I learned early in my career that the people who judge you know something of your culture, know something of you, that understand that what is written on the paper is not the end of the story, that they will see you, not erase you, that they will understand and listen to what you have to say, not just listening to what you say, but also listening to what you did not say, in order to truly live out the creed that's behind every judge, that those who labor here seek only the truth, and to rightly and compassionately apply policy.
And Mr. McNeil.
One thing that I'd want everybody to know is that there's a saying in the law that all stand equal under the law. And that is a principle that is guiding me throughout this role, and it will guide me as well on the bench. We don't want situations where we see people who have positions of prestige getting one type of justice and people who perceive to not have that same prestige get a different style of justice. We want all to stand equal and for liberty and justice for all to truly be a reality.
Thank you both very much. And thank you, both of you, for not taking up all your time as you keep this thing moving. So we appreciate that very much, too. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause to our judicial candidates. Before you guys leave, I just want to say that it's important that we understand that they've agreed to remain here afterwards and for a quick meet and greet if you'd like to have further discussions with either of them. But again, as I said at the open, I think it's so important that we give a round of applause to those who are willing to step up and offer their time, their service, their commitment, their expertise for the benefit of our community. So thank you both. Benita Jones Peabody and Arthur McNeil. Thank you both very much. Okay, giving the people what they want. What y'all want is to hear from these candidates and hear where they're coming from, right? Okay, we're going to keep this party moving. Next up, we're going to talk about the state Senate races. And of course, our Florida legislature, vitally important in shaping life here in South Florida, but throughout the state. And many of those decisions, of course, made in Tallahassee, but the people who we send from here to Tallahassee, we know that it's an interesting dynamic up there right now in Tallahassee. And they've got to go in understanding what that dynamic is, and they've got to be able to negotiate and make certain that they bring back to this community things which matter the most. I don't have to tell you how important it is that we make things more affordable, how important it is that we protect some of the gains that we've had as a community over the years. And of course, we've seen what's happened here in the state of Florida over the past several years, some of those gains being threatened. So it's important that we have people who go to Tallahassee who understand the need to fight and who understand the importance of making sure that our voices are heard, even though sometimes it seems as though no one wants to listen. So with that in mind, we're going to move on now and introduce some of our candidates for state Senate. And let me just get that here. Our first candidate joining us today is Ms. Ashley Gant. I guess you don't get any hype music. Oh, there you go, Ashley. There you go. Okay. And also joining us today is candidate Christine Alexander Sonon Jules Olivo. Thank you. Thank you both for joining us. You guys will each have 90 seconds to respond to each question. In case you guys are wondering how we keep in time, we have a couple of excellent timekeepers in front. They're holding up the signs to let the candidates know. Right. Wrap it up, speed it up. But the candidates before them did a great job with that. Okay, our first question, Ashley, we'll start with you. Florida has enacted some significant changes affecting diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in public education and government. So, first question is, what's your position on these policies, and how would you ensure that every Floridian has access to opportunity?
Thank you so much for that question. Serving in the past 4 years, we've seen several bills attack DEI in education in the form of not allowing teachers to be trained on how they are able to speak to different historical facts, historical events, or even cultural differences among students. Each time those bills have come in committee and on the floor, I voted against them. How will I ensure that students and teachers are able to have the freedom as a former public educator? I understand what it feels like to be in a classroom with students on the middle school and high school level and explaining different topics about history that are difficult. So what I have been doing, what I will continue to do, is advocate for repeals of those restrictive policies that have been enacted. And I will also continue to work with the school districts on how we look at loopholes in the language of the bill. As an attorney, I understand how do you look at the language and how do you find ways around that language, because there are ways where teachers can and parents can be empowered to request that teachers advocate and teach in certain capacities so that they can teach accurate history and then they can teach history that allows every student to be seen and heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Now the same question for our second candidate. Of course, significant changes in DEI, as we've heard, affecting programs in public education and government. So what's your position on these policies, and how would you ensure every Floridian has access to opportunity?
Thank you so much for the question, and thank you, New Birth, for allowing us to be here today. When HB 999 first made its ugly appearance, I went to Tallahassee and I spoke in front of the Education Committee. I was in the classroom. At the time, I'm a former educator. We had to wait over a month after school started to get new social studies books so that we could teach our children that slaves benefited from their labor. This has affected me personally, but what I realize is that as a community, yes, we can fight back, but we can organize. I'm gonna make sure to support organizations that are going to help educate our children, because while we fight, we still have to move. And so my first priority is gonna be making sure that our organizations have the appropriations, such as National Cares Mentoring Movement, where I taught Blackity Black, Black, Black history at schools like Be Right Leadership Academy, and making sure that we teach history to our children. We do not leave that responsibility to anybody else but ourselves, and making sure that our organizations are fully funded. Thank you.
Thank you. The second question has to do with property taxes and fiscal responsibility. And of course, we've heard a lot of discussion about this. The governor floated an idea of dramatically cutting property taxes. Sounded great to a lot of folks until some municipalities said, well, wait a minute, how are we gonna pay for the stuff, the services that people need? So there's a balancing act there. Obviously, people, given the fact that costs are rising every day, people need a break, but at what cost? So if property taxes are significantly reduced or eliminated, what's your long-term vision for funding the essential local services that families depend on? And we'll start with you, Christine, to answer this question.
So my first plea to everyone that is watching is do not vote for that. Do not. I'm a homeowner myself, and I understand that we want to reduce our property taxes, but not at the cost of our firefighters and our ambulances and our schools and our police officers, not at that expense. So that is number one. Number two, we have to work with our local municipalities. The first thing I'm going to do is meet with our local elected officials to see how we can work together to put some of these, the firefighters and the police, what can we put into appropriations where we can fund these things that our property taxes are no longer funding? I think that number one, we need to have that conversation and work together and understand that we're all in this together. I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna take direction from our local officials.
And Ms. Gant?
So I already know that there is at least a $14 billion deficit that would come about if this amendment were to pass. But what I want people to understand is this proposal came from the legislature, which means that there should have been an implementing bill to tell us how it's going to work. There is no implementing bill, meaning the next legislature will have the responsibility to pass an implementing bill. What I will propose in that implementing bill, if this measure does in fact pass, which I also agree that we should all be voting no on it, if it does happen to pass, I would put in recurring funds for necessities for local governments, like trash, like funding for parks. Those fundings cannot come from appropriations because appropriations, the pot that comes from appropriations also is inclusive of tax dollars. And so we need to make sure that in our state budget, we have a mechanism for local governments who will be at a deficit to be able to survive. And that comes in the form of proposing recurring dollars in the budget, meaning that the next legislature cannot take that money out of the budget just because there's new leadership in place. Recurring funds would allow local governments to then have an opportunity to figure out how to shift in their jobs or how they manage the local governments to be able to make up for that deficit. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one quick question for both of you. Assuming that the legislature in Tallahassee is again Republican dominated, how can a Democrat who's elected be effective? Start with you, Ms. Gant.
Thank you. So I have been affected these last 4 years, one by leveraging and creating relationships with Republicans, even though they know what my stances are. I've been able to pass legislation, and also another thing in Tallahassee is you can get things done, and it just doesn't have to have your name on it. When I went to Tallahassee, the goal was not to have my name on everything. It was not to say, oh, I did this. So I've been able to work with Republicans because some of them are reasonable to a point where they understand a good idea is a good idea. And I've been able to implement different amendments in bills, whether it's an addition or a removal of bad language to ensure that it doesn't detrimentally impact Florida, especially my district. Another way is a good idea is a good idea. So understanding the leadership matters. Understanding what matters to them, what they are focused on, or even what their priorities are. You can structure different legislation that they would support because they've made those representations in public before that they support those. Now in the Senate, senators get unlimited amount of bills, which means I will have an opportunity to run as many bills as I desire, and that can go across so many different subject areas where I'll be able to be successful and really advocate for issues that directly impact in a positive way my community. Thank you.
Okay, and Christine, real quick, you on that as well.
So Luke chapter 16 talks about what you do with a little, God will give you much, right? And so I hear my opponent saying that X, Y, and Z happened in the past, but I don't see the results of that. If there was a way to work across the aisle from my opponent's perspective, then much more would have been done. I am suggesting to actually work across the aisle, to put the people first. And I understand that yes, we have to fight, but we have to bring the resources back home. And I have already reached out to Republican colleagues to introduce myself, a fresh new face, because if it hasn't happened already, I do not believe that it will happen with more, with a larger territory. And so with that, I am committed to reintroducing myself to these Republican colleagues and showing that I can work across the aisle and get things done by including them in the conversation, introducing them to the people of this community, and then daring them to say no in our face. Thank you.
Okay. I see we've got a nice crowd here, and we want to make certain that your voices are heard also. So I think we have a system where you can ask a question. I think we have time for maybe one question from the audience. So there is a QR code, I believe, that you can find on your phones. And if you want to punch it in and ask a question real quick, then there it is. Scan there to submit your questions. And then we'll get a microphone to you, and you can ask away. So if you have any other questions for these candidates, we'll keep them here for another minute or two. In the meantime, just let me briefly ask both of you to talk a little bit about your personal backstory and how you got to be a person who now wants to represent us in Tallahassee. Ashley, we'll start with you.
Thank you so much. In 2022, I got angry about what was going on in Tallahassee. And I started writing on Facebook, or actually it was Instagram, and complaining about what was going on with the then representative. And when I got angry, I asked myself, well, what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to talk on social media, or are you going to actually do something? And that's how I launched my campaign. And I launched my campaign 6 months before the election, and I did the work that I had been doing as a member of the Gwinnett Cherry Black Women Lawyers Association, as a past president of the T.J. Reddick Bar Association, as a teacher at my alma mater, Miami Carroll City Senior High School, as a former teacher at Allapattah Middle School, and then as a public defender in Broward County. I have been serving the community. I've been in schools. I've been in different areas talking about what amendments mean as an attorney and breaking it down from my teacher experience and my knowledge as an attorney so that legalese can be broken down for people to understand. And so I did something about it. I went to Tallahassee, and even though I am very vocal and I oppose Republican policies, I still have been able to receive and bring back money that have made it past the veto pen and work with Republicans without compromising myself. Thank you.
Christine?
Hello, everyone. I was born and raised in El Portal, grew up, went to school in the North Miami area, then went to Pace High School. I grew up as an advocate. I'm a child of District 34. I have two beautiful boys, and I want them to live in the district that their mommy grew up in. I have a bachelor's in public administration. I have a master's in business. I'm getting my second master's in public policy at the University of Miami. And while, no, I have never held elected office, I have held an eviction notice. I know what it's like to fight to keep a roof over my head and food on the table. I know what it's like to take care of my elderly relatives because their Social Security wasn't enough. I'm in this fight because we deserve better. And we're done with the status quo. I don't need a title. I just need my people to rise up. That is why I'm in this race. You know, I understand that God does not call the qualified, but He qualifies the called. And this is a calling on my life. I want you to know that when I go to Tallahassee, it is your face that I am going to see every day when I go up there to fight and to deliver. Thank you.
All right, I believe we have the question that is going to pop up on the screen. There it is. Okay. I heard some people saying, mm-hmm. What can be done about homeowners' insurance Prices. Yeah, that's a big one because they keep going up, 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 up. And, you know, it seems like no matter what you do to mitigate, you put in the storm windows and you do this, you do that, and, you know. Anyway, what about that? So let's deal with that question, a very critical and important question for people here in South Florida, of course, with the threat of a storm always there. Ashley, we'll start with you.
Thank you. So there's already been legislation that will provide relief for property insurance. I'm going to kind of get technical with it, okay, y'all? So the property insurance, it's called the reinsurance process. And basically, it is a regulatory process that would allow the OIR, which is the agency that oversees property insurance, to actually regulate the increases. Right now, we're seeing people with 50%, 100%, 200% property insurance increases because the OIR is not regulating new insurance companies that are coming in. They're not putting in measures that allow citizens to not just kick people off and then they have to go find another property insurer, and that property insurer now has a 100% increase on the rate. So there is legislation that is already drafted, that has already been filed, that I will file again. And the reason I'll file it again is because when it was initially filed, Republicans acknowledged that that was a possible solution. Now we see that it's not a partisan issue. So Democrats or independents are not just suffering from the increasing property insurance, so are Republicans, which means that conversations that I've had with people that are going into leadership in both chambers now understand that this idea is actually a feasible one to implement for everybody.
I believe that even though we've had a few programs here and there to invest in infrastructure, I think it's important for us to continue to invest in infrastructure, into our roofs, into our flood mitigation, because the reason why a lot of these insurance companies are raising the prices or going elsewhere is because they do not trust the structures. And to be honest, a lot of our roofs are bad, and there is a lot going on. So while yes, we need to hold our insurance companies accountable, we also need to take care of our people and make sure that their roofs are good. Make sure that the drainage in the streets, like, we need to take care of our people. And so I want to invest in infrastructure to make sure that our insurance companies feel like they can come back. They can come back and they can lower their prices because we have lessened the risk.
Thank you very much. Well, I think, do we have one more question we want to get up there? We good? Okay. There we go. All right. Since you guys are on a roll, we're just going to keep you up here for one more question. Okay. How would you assist business owners and nonprofits with funding and resources? A lot of people who are entrepreneurs who would like to be entrepreneurs, but certainly need that financial boost to get going. So a very important question for any potential or future entrepreneurs or current entrepreneurs in the house. Okay, there you go. This question's for you. What's your answer to that? We'll start with you, Christine. We'll start with you.
Yeah, oh, great. I'm a small business owner. I own an advertising and marketing company. I've always had to have a small business as a teacher because teachers don't get paid enough, which is another conversation. So I think that the number one thing we need to do for our small businesses and let them know what's out there. There is a lack of dissemination of information, right? So we need to let them know what's out there and make sure that our small businesses, and by our small businesses I mean our community of small businesses, as in the Black community, understands what is out there. I will regularly host town halls and meetings where we will provide you with the resources. My office will be a resource hub, and on top of that, our nonprofits, I will hold regular meetings where we teach them how to apply for appropriations, how to partner with other organizations to get some of this funding that is coming from the state that's going into other communities and just skipping ours. So making sure that we have the information and that we have it early enough to apply and get it together so we can get our money right. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Ashley, the same question for you.
Thank you. As a small business owner, I first know how important it is to work with local electeds. So local electeds have the ability and the budget to provide grants for small businesses. And so when I have worked with my local commissioners to get that information out, businesses have gotten grants through local governments. Regarding state money for local businesses or small businesses, that comes in the form of agency grants. I've connected small businesses with agencies that have independent budgets with independent grants to apply for those grants. I've connected them with people to help them understand how to write the grant and how to write the grant correctly, because it's not just about doing it, it's about doing it well and doing it correctly. Another thing I'll say is I continually hold appropriations workshops before every session, and I will continue to do so. I've taught nonprofits from the bottom all the way into different counties, how do you actually apply for an appropriation? You have to apply in both chambers for appropriations, and there are strict deadlines, and if there's something incorrect, we have to cure that before the deadline actually comes. So I've been doing it, I'll continue to do it, and I'll also continue to work within the parameters of undoing the anti-DEI work that disproportionately impacts small businesses that are women-owned, minority-owned, and veteran-owned. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we certainly appreciate the time that you ladies have taken with us this afternoon to explain your positions and to answer the questions forthrightly. And I think you'll all agree that we certainly appreciate their time and their honesty with these answers. Thank you both very much. How about a warm round of applause for Christine Alexander-Sanon, Jules Olivo, and also Ashley Gant. Thank you very much. You're welcome. All right. RESPCT. Find out what it means to me. Absolutely. You know, as citizens of this community, that's not too much to ask for, is it? A little respect? Okay. And the one way that we can, of course, get respect is by making certain that we vote for the right people. Make sure that we get the respect that's due. Am I right? Okay, then. That's why we're here this afternoon. Okay. Now, let's get to the juicy stuff. So very important who we send to Washington. So vital that the people who go to Washington understand this community. So critical that the people who represent us understand the needs of everyday people who are working, raising families. So urgent that they understand the different phases of life that are in this community, from young people looking for an opportunity, to their parents, to their grandparents, to seniors. The needs, we all understand them. We understand the challenges that come as we go through these different phases of life, and it's important that those who we elect and send to Congress understand those needs too. From housing to health care, we could go on and on. That's why it's so important that we listen very closely to what these gentlemen we're about to call up to the stage have to say. We're talking about Florida's 20th Congressional District. Now, we know what's happened in the state of Florida. Those lines that were like this, they got redrawn like this. And so as a result, it set off a domino effect that had a big impact on the 20th Congressional District. There was a candidate, as a longtime incumbent, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who is now running as a candidate in this district, switching from where she was to run in this district. There's also a candidate, Elijah Manley, and the incumbent, Sheila Sherfilis McCormick. They are not here today, but two candidates who do seek your vote are. And they're willing to address the New Birth family to tell you where they stand on the issues. The first is the former mayor of Broward County, Mr. Dale Holness. Dale? Yeah. You can crank that music up a little bit so we can hear it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, there you go. All right. Dale, did you pick that theme song? Or okay, all right. They clearly knew it kind of suited you, though, didn't they, brother? Mm-hmm. I hear
Come
you.
on.
All right. And our other candidate would like to represent District 20, a man who certainly has been around South Florida a mighty long time, as an entertainer, football coach, activist. He's done it all. Mr. Luther Campbell. Okay. Yeah. I didn't think we were going to play any of Luke's old records here today. I wasn't. I wasn't expecting to hear that. If we had, I would have hit the floor, I'm telling you. Woo-wee. All right.
You do not want to do that.
Gentlemen, thank you.
One song you could have played,
What's that?
Me So Holy.
That's the remix? Yeah. I haven't heard that one, but I'd like to. Okay, gentlemen, we thank you both so much for joining us this afternoon. I know the New Birth family welcomes you and is eager to hear your perspectives. And I've had the privilege of chatting with both of you on a number of occasions, so I understand a little bit more about who you are, but I don't know that many people here really know who you are. So let me offer you the opportunity to give you a 30-second quick introduction about who you are in here. Mr. Campbell, we'll start with you.
Who I am, I'm pretty sure a lot of people know me in here. I am a entrepreneur, I'm a businessman. I'm the person, I don't like sitting down. Let me see if I can stand up. I'm the guy who God sends to go to these different places to help build. You know, I remember in this church when Bishop Curry, before he started this church, he was at Miami Northwestern. And a lot of people don't know Bishop Curry. It's from Carver Ranch. A lot of people don't know that when Pastor started his church, you know, he came by my office and say, I'm starting my church, I'm leaving one church, I'm coming here, and I'm gonna build this great church. And can I get a donation?
30 seconds, Luke.
And I gave him a $500 donation, and I'll leave it there and I'll talk more. I want to hear more and questions, and would love to continue this conversation.
We shall, I guarantee you. Mr. Holness, quick introduction about yourself.
Well, good afternoon, New Birth. My name is Dale Holness. I came to this country as an immigrant at the age of 17, finished high school here, went to Broward College. At 20 years old, I became a general manager for McDonald's restaurant. At 22 years old, I bought my first home. And this country has been good to me. My mother believed in being a servant, and I took that from her. So I got involved in community service. I got elected to the city of Lauderhill in 2004 after 2 tries, the third time I did, to change things. We had drug dealers selling drugs on the corner of the street across from City Hall and the police station. We changed that. Started Lauderhill Chamber of Commerce, Lauderhill Education A+ plan, funded by $100,000, got to the county, became a county commissioner, put in place broad black action plan.
Mr. Holness, we're going to stop you there. We're going to have
Thank
you
you.
give an opportunity to answer some of these questions. Thank you. Our first question deals with leadership and accountability, gentlemen, and well, I'll just be plain about it. Voters have seen elected officials leave one office before completing the work they promised in order to seek higher office. So whether you have previously served in elected office or are seeking public office for the very first time, why should voters trust that you will follow through on the commitments that you make to the people of Congressional District 20? Candidate Holness, we'll start with you on this one.
Thank you so much. I started on that. So I got elected, and I pledged to the people that I'd help our businesses grow. I pledged to them that I'd help our schools. I pledged to them that would clean up an area that had been really, really plagued with a lot of issues, drug dealing and other stuff. Help the young men on the corner get jobs. That's what I did. Started the Chamber of Commerce. I did. Got to the county, made pledges to change things, to look at the poverty rate that we have in Broward County and to bring about changes. We now have Prosperity Broward in place in Broward County to help zip codes with high poverty, high unemployment. And why is it so essential that we do that? Because guess who live mostly in those high poverty zip codes? People that look like you and I. That can be done at the federal level. There's a thing called the Opportunity Zones that targets communities that have poverty, unemployment, low income. We now need to put money into those to ensure that we have early childhood education, that we have technical training, that we increase home ownership rate, that we help our businesses within these communities to grow and develop. That's how we grow and build America. We need to look at the tax code to make sure that we're targeting dollars to those who are greatest in need. For example, the child tax credit should be doubled and made permanent. It lifts a lot of communities out of poverty, a lot of people out of poverty. There's a lot of work to be done. And I've done it, and you can check my record. Go back and look at all my campaign pieces and my promises, and you'll see the results.
Mr. Holness, thank you.
Done.
Thank you. Mr. Campbell, leadership and accountability is the question. We've seen people leave one office before completing another, so how can voters trust that you'll follow through on the commitments that you make to the people of Congressional District 20?
Well, one thing about me, everything I've started, I've finished, whether it was building up a program that me and Sam Johnson started at Liberty City Optimist, finishing it off by building, getting $16 million from Joe Ariola to finish remodeling that park, to then finding out that Alonzo Mourning did not want kids to go in his building. I know some of y'all want to know that story, but I don't have that much time to tell you that. But we built Gibson Park because we rebuilt Gibson Park because he wouldn't let the kids go in the building. That's the type of fighter I am. When you call me, I'm there to work. I'm not a career politician under no circumstances. I will never be that. We have failed politicians in both of these counties. I'm sorry to tell you. And so, again, God sends me to these places and say, get off the bench and get in the game. It's only because I took the walk through Broward County. I live in Broward County. Yes, I've done my work in Dade County, but I've always done my work in Dade County. But Broward County has helped me in so many ways. When I went to court in Broward County. I got acquitted in Broward County before I went to the Supreme Court. That was in Broward County when I decided that I was going to fight because no one was going to suppress my voice or us as African Americans. It was a jury of my peers in Broward County that did what? Overturned all the decisions and sent me to the United States Supreme Court, and I won. And that's the type of person I am.
Mr. Campbell, thank you very much. Second question deals with democracy and representation. Congress is more often than not called upon to address complex issues involving voting rights, fair representation, election law, and the balance of federal and state authority. So the question to you, gentlemen, is how is your professional, public service, or personal experience prepared you to navigate these issues and effectively represent the people of Congressional District 20 in the United States House of Representatives. Again, democracy and representation. How do you address the complex issues involving voting rights, fair representation, the election law, and the balance of federal and state authority? Mr. Campbell.
Well, first of all, you got to burn it down, unfortunately. What we have in the United States Congress, as far as the Black Caucus, they don't represent us. They handpick who they want. That's why you're dealing with so much voter interference. That's why you're dealing with so many people, special interest groups, putting money into campaigns. You got to go burn it down. In this particular race here in 24, you have individuals that are endorsed by members of the Black Congressional Caucus. In 20, where we're desperately needed, you don't have any person, any African American that has been endorsed by the Congressional Black Caucus. Now you got to think about it for a second. Why is that? Why is that? But yet and still you got a white woman running in this race who does not want to show up to a black church, who does not show up to anything of having any conversation with us, but yet and still they run around buying pastors in our community. So I'm here, God sent again, to burn it down. I'm sorry. When you send me to Washington, I'm not going in as a freshman because I have no respect for any of them. Hakeem Jeffrey, the leader of the Congressional Black Caucus, because they did not denounce this woman. And that's where I'm staying with that.
Mr. Holness.
So what we must do is pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. How do we get there is the issue that we faced. It means we need to get the votes. And as someone who served, I understand that if you don't have the votes, you can't do anything. One of my colleagues, when I just got there, told me if you have the votes, Holness, if you can get to 5 out of the 9, you can make Monday, Tuesday. So we must get the votes, which means we must elect more Democrats who stands for getting us the Voting Rights Act passed. And I pledge to you this, that I won this seat as the nominee for the Democratic Party. My next 90 days will be to get other Democrats elected to the House of Representatives, including District 22, where that Congresswoman should have run, because she could win it. But she see 4 of us running for this seat as black folks and decide it's expedient. It's easy for her to come in and take what we have and then say, you're a friend. That's not a friend. So part of what I've done over time is to help others get elected. And that's the job that I'll take on. It's not just being able to sit there. You gotta get to the 218, the House of Representatives, what you need to pass legislation on the House side. Then you gotta get it on the Senate side, and then you gotta get a president who will do it also, who will sign it into law. I've done that across Broward County. You look at Broward County, you see more black electeds and people who are more interested in taking care of us than anywhere else, because I've been on the front line for that.
Mr. Holness, thank you. Thank you. Will you candidates raise the question that I know has been in the news a lot, and that is Debbie Wasserman Schultz, longtime incumbent, deciding to run in this district because she feels that her chances to win are greater in this district and not the one that has been redrawn. There was some talk a few weeks ago, gentlemen, that maybe the 4 African-American candidates in this race would come together and behind one black candidate. I'm wondering what happened with that effort, or why didn't it happen? Mr. Campbell?
You got time?
A little time.
Well, let me give you a little history lesson. I'll try to do it fast. Yes, we all went into a room. I was the oddball out because I had not ran against any individual in the room. Everybody had, they had their little past experience. And so I actually went into the room with the idea of actually getting out. If I saw any individual in that room that I thought was worthy enough to serve the people of Congressional District 20, who I've met and talked to and went to their homes and went to their houses, went to the parks and seen some of the things that they don't have, that we have, that I've built. So when I went in the room, I looked at a career politician. I looked at a young lady who has been indicted. I looked at, and who resigned. I looked at a young man who's 27 years old, who has a bright future. And when I win this race, I'm going to take him with me. And I've told him that several times. And then I decided to stay in. And then it got even better because congressional congresswoman decided to get out. So all my friends started saying, well, why you don't run over here? But I ain't that type of person. When I promised the people of Congressional District 20, and I go around Congressional District 20 and have the conversation with them, I will not turn my back on them for the sake of a seat. I'm not here to just become a congressman just to have a job. If that was the case, I'd have ran in 24 because my mama from town, I'm from the city, I coach in Lil Haiti,
Mr. Campbell.
I live in Miramar. So at the end of the day, it would have been real easy.
Mr. Campbell, your time. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Holness.
It's sad that we weren't able to come to an agreement. I pledged that if anyone had data that showed that they were stronger, their polling data, financial data, that they could win, I would have dropped out and supported that person. Sadly, with 4 of us in there, the likelihood is that we may not have someone with the lived experience of the people of this district. 76% are minorities. Blacks make up 52% of the voting bloc for the Democratic Party. Had I seen someone or gotten data from anywhere that says, Holness, you were elected. I had $326,000 at the end of the quarter when we started. Nobody else had any kind of money like that. Sheila had 11,000. Elijah had 22,000. Luke had about 23,000, I believe. You look at the data in the polling, today, it shows that the candidate who can win the seat is me. I'm up 1% in some, down 1% behind Debbie. She could have won the seat she's in. That's a disgrace that she didn't show leadership. I showed her the data. I gave her the data that she could win in 22. Biden won it in 2020 by 3%. Trump, yes, won it in 24 by 10%. But since then, the state have moved away from Donald Trump and the Republican by an average of 17%. And it's documented across the state, including House District 87 in Palm Beach, where Trump lives, went away from him by 17%, 22% in House District 1 in the Panhandle.
Mr. Holness.
So we could have, she could have won there. It's poor leadership, none leadership at all. For someone who's sitting there that wants Hakeem Jeffries supposedly to be the speaker, and you give up one to the Republicans?
Mr. Holness, thank you. Thank you. Let's see if we've got some questions from the audience. Again, if we can put up the QR code on the screen, or maybe we have questions. Okay, perfect. You guys are quick studies. You're ready to go. Okay, what are your plans to improve access to affordable health care for Floridians, even those living in rural areas? Mr. Holness, we'll start with you.
So not just rural areas, urban areas also need help. I support a community health organization. We have one in Broward County that has 3 different locations. I've helped to make sure they have the funding in place. We need to do that in Washington also to ensure that we're funding those areas that have the greatest needs. The Opportunity Zone Act is something that we can utilize also to fuel funds into these areas. Expanding Medicare and Medicaid is also essential for us. But again, we still have to get to the 218 votes in the House and 60 in the Senate to pass these and get a president that will sign it into legislation. Expanding Medicaid is going to be extremely important for us. Now, let me start now by telling you what we need to do. Many of you in this room vote. You need to make sure everyone else that you know vote. Vote by mail is easy. You can do it from your bedroom, your bathroom, anywhere you want to. there should be no reason why we don't have all of us voted. So you can self-organize and make sure that we get Democrats elected across the county, the city, the state, and the federal government. So we can put these policies in place that's going to help us. If we don't have people in power that understand your needs, that cares enough about you and not about the special interests and the wealthiest, we're not going to get the things that we need to get done.
Thank you, Mr. Holness. Mr. Campbell, the question about health care.
That's a good question. Rural areas was originally in this district before they gerrymandered the map. Riviera Beach was in this district, who has a water problem. You had Belgrade, Pahokee, South Bay was in this district before they gerrymandered it. And when you go around the areas and you talk to those people in rural areas, they have a totally different set of concerns. So I'm gonna go back to what the mayor had to say when it came to money. I don't take special interest groups money. APAC and everybody came to me and said, hey, we want to give you some money. And I said, no, you will not buy my boat. Developers came to me and said, we want to give you some money. I said, no, you will not buy my boat. I think I got a lot of money I could put in my own campaign if I want to buy it. But we saw what happened when a young lady bought an election. And when you go back to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, this play has been ran in Memphis. This play was ran in Memphis by Steve Cohen. Steve Cohen went into a crowded field of African Americans in Memphis after 2 black congressmen held the seat, 2 sons, a father and a son, Gerald Ford. And Steve Cohen ended up going in that seat by 31% because they had a crowd filled of black people. This Debbie Wasserman Schultz is doing the same thing. But again, going back to Mr. Dale, I'm not a career politician. I don't take special interest groups' money. $5 here, $5 there, $5 there, $5 here.
Mr. Campbell?
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe we may have time for one more question from the audience. Let's see if we've got another one. Oh, that's a paragraph. That ain't a question. All right, let me see if I can cut through this. Okay, my aunt served as an Army reservist, retired, E7 Sergeant First Class. She was informed she is not eligible for burial in the Veterans Cemetery. Do you find this appalling, and will you take up issues like this in D.C.? The question of someone who served and where they are eligible to be buried. Mr. Campbell.
Someone who served and are eligible to be buried where they want to be buried. I'm gonna just be real. I'm not an expert on that, even though I have 4 brothers that are military, 1 military pilot, Navy pilot, another one was in the Army, another one was in the Air Force. I think, and two of them have been buried, and they've been buried where they wanted to be buried at. And so at the end of the day, if that is an issue or if there's any concern from any individual of things that your United States Congressman can do for you, my door is always open. It will be always open. See, I'm not like this career politician. They come in here and ask you for your vote, and then they get missing. You don't see them, they won't come back until it's time for election time. So I am the one who are here I'm like Deion Sanders. I ain't hard to find. I cannot be hard to find because it's my job to come right back here where it all started for me and go to each and every town hall meeting and have conversations. And that question is asked so many times because these career politicians, they get your vote and you don't see them until it's time to ask for your vote. And that's why I stand there. So I want to learn as much as I can to solve any issue, whether it's this issue or any other issues that I may not know about.
Mr. Campbell, thank you. Mr. Holness?
Yes, I find it appalling when we have our people go to war, they put their lives at risk. When they come back, we should take care of them. And even if they don't go to war, the fact that they're willing to put the uniform on means that they deserve every respect that they ought to get. So, yes, I will take it up. Yes, I'll fight for what's right. In the county, when I was the mayor, we did just that. As a commissioner, I did just that. It's called constituent service. And that's something we excelled at. And we must ensure that we're serving our people. And you can look at the record in Broward County. More phone calls to my office, more visits to my office. I attended more meetings and more community group meetings than anyone else. In fact, than all of them combined. Because I understand what it is to serve. That's what I'm about. It's about service. I'm a public servant, not a career politician. To be honest with you, I'll make more money not going to Washington. But I care enough to serve you, to serve the people, to serve those who've been left behind, left out, too often locked out and locked up. That's what I come to the table with, service to you. And by the way, before you leave, you can take one of these. My platform is here. You can hold me accountable, as I've been accountable to the people all this time. You can go back and see all my platforms and see what I've done, and I can show you the record as to what I've done, because I perform, because it's about service to you more than anything else.
Thank you. Well, we certainly appreciate the time that the candidates have given us, the candidates who are still in the running for Florida's 20th Congressional District. It means a lot, I know, to me and to everyone here that you guys have shown up and patiently answered the questions that have been on everybody's mind. So we look forward to August 18th. And
please go to wholenessforcongress.com. Donate, volunteer,
okay.
see my platform. Thank you.
You made your point. Thank you, though. All right. Trying to squeeze it in there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank Dale Holness and Luther Campbell. All right. Okay, as you see, we are adding another section to this table because we're going to need to add to microphones too for the final part of this forum. While we have a moment to get set up for the final part of this candidate forum, I want to remind all of our guests today that the candidates will be around to answer questions and be part of a meet and greet afterwards. Those who can hang around, I'm certain, would be glad to speak to you. And we, again, thank them for their time and commitment. While we get everybody set up for the microphones, I want to give a little plug about CBS News Miami. We will have extensive coverage election night, August 18th. Yours truly and Lauren Pastrana will be anchoring our coverage on the CBS News Miami stream, the cbsnewsmiami.com, from 7:30 to 10, and we'll break down all of these races. Our reporters will be at all of the candidates' headquarters so that you can hear directly from them on election night. Of course, we'll have analysis to break down the results and what it all means about what we can expect going forward into November. Okay. A long table, lots of microphones. Let's make sure everybody is understanding. We also want to make certain that you guys know that there are some other candidates who are here. Candidates from District 108, State Representative Peter Walsh and Daphne Campbell are here. Somewhere. Okay, there in the back. There you go, all the way. Thank you. State Representative candidates from District 109, John H. Taylor, Jr. Broadway Harewood. Okay. Broadway don't need no mic. And James Bush III. We also have some school board candidates in the house. District 1, Linda Couthier. Did I say that right? Okay. Joy L. Jackson. Renly Mesador. And Katrina Delphine Wilson. Thank you all for being here. And I don't think we're going to have time to let y'all get on the mic, but again, these candidates will be here that you can meet and talk to up close and personal to understand what their motivation is. And as I mentioned off the top, and I hope you all agree, it's a heartwarming thing, quite honestly, to see people willing to step up and put their name, their reputation, their money, their time on the line for the opportunity to represent us in these important places, because they can help shape the future of our community. So let's give a round of applause again to all those candidates who are willing to do that. Okay, we know what district New Birth sits in. It is Florida's 24th congressional district. And let's just say you have a few choices. We've got 8 candidates in this race, 7 of whom are here with us today. So we'd like to call them all up and let them tell you a little bit about themselves. We'll start with Mr. Marshall Davis. Mr. Oliver Gilbert. Mr. Chevron Jones. Mr. Kendrick Meek Jr. Mr. Rudolph Rudy Moise. Mr. Gene Monestein. And Ms. Tay Miana Brown. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you're starting 7 for the Miami Heat. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, who needs the Greek freak when we got them, right? All righty. We've kind of been a little loose on the time up until now, but since we have so many candidates up here, we're probably going to have to stick to the time constraints a little bit more. So candidates, I want you to know you'll each have 90 seconds to respond to each question. 90 seconds, 1 minute and 30 seconds. We thank you all for being here today, we really do. It means so much to all of us. And I'd like you all to start, I guess we'll just go from left to right by starting to help the audience get to know you a little bit better. Of course, many of you are very familiar to a lot of us, but still, things about you that I'm sure you'd like folks to know about. So you'll start with you, Mr. Davis. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself so they can get to know you. So briefly introduce yourself.
My name is Marshall Davis. I'm the candidate who was born in Overtown, raised in Liberty City, raised my kids here in Miami Gardens, and currently living in Miramar. I've been in the government for 43 years, have a lot of success story. I'm the only candidate on this platform that did so well they decided to make a movie about me. It's called Instrumental Start, a model for the nation. This program has enabled a lot of kids to realize their dreams. We have several components to our program, and Jim Berry, who may not be known as a musician, he participated in one as a resident artist at the center. So we're about helping people realize their dreams. And what we have done in that period of time is we got people to go to Yale, the New Juilliard, the New World Schools of Arts. They've been on Broadway, they won Academy Awards, they won Grammy. It's because we have a strategy that deals with structure, that deals with systems, and also with schedules to make sure you reach your goals. I'm proud to be here and hope that you will vote for me as the candidate for District 24, which is the new district that includes from Brown, Overtown, Posted Overtown, all the way to Daniel Beach. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Gilbert.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Oliver Gilbert. I'm the former mayor of Miami Gardens, current county commissioner for District 1, former chairman of the board. But beyond that, I am a husband. My wife, she's Walkeria, she's right there. I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a friend. I was born and raised in Miami Gardens. I live in the Bajas. Yeah, I went to FAMU for undergrad, Norland for high school. I took the bus and the Metro Rail to UM's law school every morning, and then I came back to Miami Gardens. My mom and my dad, they always wanted to emphasize that whatever I learned in the Gables at I brought it back home. And that's what I did. Well, when I became mayor, Miami Gardens was the 7th most dangerous city in America. I told folks that it wasn't gonna stay that way. I remember when 10 people got shot in 11 days, and I said it's not gonna stay that way. I told them that we were gonna be an all-American city. We would receive the designation that other folks would say how great we were. They laughed out loud. 8 years later, 2020, I'm leaving. Miami Gardens receives the All-American City designation. Because of the businesses, because of the absence of crime, because of the parks that were closed that are now open, because we engaged in a meaningful way. I engage in a meaningful way. I'm proud to have the endorsement of our Congresswoman. I'm proud to have her endorsement because she endorsed me because I solve problems. I'm gonna solve some problems for you in Congress. I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much.
Mr. Jones.
Good afternoon. My name is Chevron Jones, and I have the awesome privilege of serving you all in Tallahassee for the past 14 years. I've served you for 8 years inside the Florida House and for 6 years in the Florida Senate. And I must say that we all have done some great work together over those past 14 years. I was born right in Miami Gardens in Carroll City in the Bajas on 210th Terrace, and then my parents in high school, we moved to Carver Ranches, also known as West Park. My mother's a teacher, my dad's a pastor. My mom and my dad, they gave us two things to my brothers and I that we still live by today. God bless the dead for my little brother, and that was faith and for service. It was service that led me to the classroom to teach AP chemistry at Everglades Senior High School and to FAU High School, and it was service that led me to serve in the Florida legislature. But within the classroom where I learned the need of the breakdown and what we are seeing within our community and within our government, how government was working against us and not for us. And that's why I ran for office. But I believe that while in Tallahassee, we've served some good and we did some good legislation together. And I want to continue that work in Washington, D.C. Why? Because you deserve it. And I know we're not done. And I know there's an uphill climb, and I know that the work that needs to be done in Washington, but I know for a fact, in working on one of the toughest legislative bodies in the country, in Tallahassee, we've delivered. And when you send me to Washington, D.C., we'll deliver again. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'm Chevron Jones. Thank you so much.
Mr. Meek.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kendrick Meek. I'm going to be your member of Congress. Some of you may know me by my family name. You may have known my grandmother, Congresswoman Carrie Meek, who served this community honorably for many, many years. You may know, absolutely. You may know my father, Congressman Kendrick Meek, who I'm so proud to have here today. Thanks, Dad, for being here. But let me tell you a little bit about me. I was born and raised in this community in Biscayne Gardens. I went to the University of Florida for undergrad, did well enough that I got a full scholarship to the University of Miami School of Law. And I've been working as an attorney here in South Florida for the past 3 years. So I know a little bit about how our political and legal system works and how it doesn't work for working people. And we're at a critical crossroads. Gas is at $4 a gallon. We have a president that thinks that we're second-class citizens. We can't afford our health care. And that's really a testament to the fact that our leadership has failed us, that we need a new generation of leadership. Someone who understands our struggles, someone who has the courage to stand on a stage like this and say, we need new leadership. Someone that will look Donald Trump in the eye and remind him that the highest power in this world is God. So on August 18th, if you will do anything, have the courage to stand up for this community. Have the courage to elect leadership that is unbought and unbossed. I look forward to the conversation. Thank you all so very much.
Mr. Moise?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Moise. I'm a Haitian immigrant who came to this country with $1.50 in his pocket, but with a strong determination to build a stronger future. I work hard, study hard, and earn multiple degrees. In fact, for the past 40 years, I've served in the community in different capacity. As a primary care physician, my office is down the street on 119th, serving patients. Number 2, as an attorney, standing for justice, as a colonel in the Air Force, serving our nation, and as an entrepreneur creating jobs. I also serve in multiple organizations as chair, University of Miami, the chairman. Number 2, Dade County Medical Association as a chair. That's all the doctors in Miami-Dade County. And also the chair of Jackson Memorial Foundation that raises money for Jackson. In fact, that new emergency room that just been built, we raise money for that. And lastly, chair of the Mocha Museum, which I really appreciate the art. Now I decided to run because of the affordable issue in the community. When parents have to start choosing between rent and groceries and between medications and child care, that's a problem. So we want to create some solutions for that, which we'll discuss later. Thank you very much.
Mr. Modestine.
Good afternoon. My name is Jean Monestime. I'm a formerly undocumented immigrant in this country, but I've called this place my home the last 45 years. Many in this district share my experience, for I'm a person who started in this community mopping floors, washing dishes, mowing lawns. I slept in my car for 2 weeks once because I didn't have a place to live. And I had no parents here. My mom was not here. My dad was not here. But I put myself through school with the encouragement of church members who supported me. I spent some time at Miami Edison, Miami-Dade College, graduated finance and economy from finance from FIU, and got an MBA from Nova Southeastern University. And I remember a similar experience we had in 2010 when I was the underdog in a race. We had a similar forum here. Some of you wondered whether I was capable of serving my community fairly throughout. I think most of you will remember that I had an open door policy, that I serve everybody across District 2, and this is my district equally. And I've lived in this district the last 24 years.
Mr. Modestine, thank you.
I raised my family here, and I seek your support to represent you in Congress to do the same. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Brown.
Well, first, giving honor to God since we're in a church. But my name is Tamayana Brown, and no, I am not originally from here. I am from the corrupt state of Illinois, right? I've been here on and off for maybe since 2015, but actually reside here for about 2 years. I am not a career politician, as I am very honored for my colleagues for what they've been doing. And I am the Republican nominee for this 24th district. I decided long before now that I was going to run. I was going to run against Congresswoman Frederica Wilson because I just believed that the things that was going on, even though she was bringing different things to the district, it just wasn't helping our district. You guys can see as you walk around and as you drive around what's left, nothing. The things that is left, we are able to do it. To fast forward, I am a real estate developer, successful mogul of entrepreneurship. I'm an American businesswoman. I'm a former educator. I'm a homeschool mom of 2 boys. I am a divorcee. I started working at 14 at McDonald's, okay? So someone who built their own wealth, that's me. I am here to solve problems, the real issues at hand, because I'm going to be the one to go against one of my colleagues. And I'm asking you to forget about the R behind my name and the D behind theirs, and let's see who can actually bring more affordability, more homes to this district, lower our taxes, limit government, give you the opportunity to choose what school your child needs to go to, not the government. 9 Miami-Dade school programs is closed. My name is Tamayana Brown, and I'm looking for your support. Thank you for my time.
Thank you. Next question for our candidates has to do with leadership and character. And of course, life throws us some curveballs, and sometimes as we have the opportunity to look back on decisions that we made, we might go, you know, maybe if I had it to do all over again, I would have done something different. So I'd like each of you candidates to maybe give us one of those do-over decisions. What was it? What did that experience teach you? And how has it helped shape the way you would serve in Congress? And let's go this way this time. We'll start with you, Ms. Brown.
Well, one of the things I can say is my education. I had a scholarship to be a teacher, and I messed that up doing what I do, what all young girls do, follow behind boys. Eventually, I got pregnant and married their father. But at the end of the day, I understood what it was like to actually build, to actually work, to take on physical responsibility of what I decide I want to do with my money, my priorities. And this is one of the reasons why I'm going to Congress. I'm going to Congress because we need new leadership. We need new leadership here in this district. Like I said, I appreciate my colleagues, but at the end of the day, even though past legislation has actually passed, it hasn't really hit the district. And I'm just being honest as I tell you guys the uncomfortable truth. You guys know it. We've seen it, we see it, and we're living it. Because we're lived experience, we're gonna have to do something about it. And it's not just about making national headlines. It is about making sure we make decisions for the next generation, which is my children. And that's why I'm fighting for you, your family, and mine as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Mr. Monestein.
One thing I learned is that politicians don't earn a place in public service. You're entrusted with the opportunity to serve. And because of that, you cannot carry power as a badge on your shoulder or up in your head. It must be carried with compassion, with a sense of trust, with the ability to be accountable to the people you serve and opening the doors for those that come after you. That's exactly why we move forward every day, thanking the community for who they allow us to be, that they allow us to serve, and gratefully, I come from a family who knew that everything that we do, everything that we are, it's because of the community we're a part of. The African proverb, or the word, Ubuntu, I am because you are. Without you, I'm nothing. And that's the story of my life, because having been in this country without any help, without money supporting me, I was supported by this community, and I'm grateful. And I've raised a family. I started a small business. And one of my motto is, we achieve the American dream by teaching others how to do the same, whether they were born here or elsewhere. And that's the kind of heart I will bring in service to my community in Congress.
Mr. Monestein, thank you. Mr. Moise.
Thank you. I don't know if you remember that I ran for this seat before. 16 years ago, in 2010, at that time it was District 17, I ran for the district, and there was about 9 candidates. And what I've learned during the first time, I'm using that in this race, how to choose a strong team, how to really create a very efficient campaign, and money is not the only thing. You can have the most money, which I had the first time, but I still lost. I came second, but I still lost. So it's not all about money. It's about strategy, understanding the needs of the community and address them appropriately. So this is what I learned.
Mr. Meek?
For me, I think it's the biggest mistake I ever made was believing that young people can't play a role in the political process, that you need years of experience and you need to climb the political ladder, and more that you need to wait your turn. I think, you know, I think of my grandmother. When she first ran for political office in 1979, she was the underdog. She was running against 12 other candidates. I'm sure she sat on stages just like this one with folks that were more qualified, you know, had been in office for long enough and had waited their turn. But, you know, she worked hard. She had a team of young people that were her students at Miami College that helped her draw out signs and canvas and organize, and the rest is history. I don't think any of us could be sitting on this stage if it wasn't for her taking that risk and saying that regardless of who you are, right, regardless of your background, regardless of your title, you have a role to play in our democracy. That's what I learned from that experience, and I'm very fortunate to have that.
Mr. Jones.
So I think a leadership decision that if I can go back and change it, it would probably be that I should have gone on to med school. But I decided to go and be a teacher. It's a true story. My dad, when I graduated from Florida A&M University, had my degree in biochemistry, molecular biology, and I had a gap year. And so my dad was like, well, listen, I know you're taking a gap year, but you got to go find a job. So I went to go be a teacher. And because I said, you know what, that's something that I will end up doing. But I had already gotten accepted to med school in that gap year. But I don't see it as a mistake, because even though that was a leadership decision that I probably should have gone to med school, I actually gained in teaching in the classroom. I learned more about myself. I learned about my colleagues. But it was the kids who taught me more than anything. And so although I see it as a leadership decision that I should have gone a different direction, I'm actually grateful that I was a teacher, because it has allowed me to go into the legislature to be more empathetic. It allowed me to go into the legislature to be more strategic in how I think, and it has also allowed me to go to the legislature and be more collaborative, even with individuals who might disagree with me, and still put good results across the finish line.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Gilbert.
So Jim, this is an interesting question. I've been listening to all you all's answers, and I think Chevron might have got a little bit of it, but I don't think anybody else answered this question. It's a tough question. But so our experiences are different. I was responsible for a city that had problems, significant problems. And so in the context of fixing those problems, I'm not a particularly patient person, but I saw the urgency. I saw people actually being killed. I saw businesses not there. I saw parks. I saw it. And so when you're in a rush to fix something, sometimes you don't always explain how you did it. I don't think I explained how I did it properly. I look back now and I think that when I talked about ending crime or reducing it, and people wanted more police, and I added people in the parks programming, and businesses. I said we can have more police, but that they arrest people. I want to stop crime from being committed. And so I think that the failure to communicate exactly how we were addressing the issues. And so I came to this actually because folks invite me to speak around the country about the turnaround in Miami Gardens. And when I have to sit down and think about it, I realize that I never explained it, I just did it. And that was partially my fault. That was my impatience. That was me being in a hurry to actually fix the problem. I could have done that better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Mr. Davis.
Yes, so my do-over turned to be a do-better. I was an educator at the Expressive Art program for North County. I have some wonderful students like Misty and Dawn. And I said, you know, I'm not making enough money. So I decided to get out of that, go to other jobs, and finally ended right back into the education center at the African Heritage Cultural Arts Center that recently was named after me. The change was tremendous. The shackles that was on as a teacher was off, and I could develop a program that helped kids and people to realize their dreams. So that's what I did. I did over and did better. I'm about solutions, and that's been my whole career, bringing solutions, preparing kids to come out of an impoverished situation, to have the kind of mentality and the kind of compassion that they can have dreams and realize those dreams. They can win Academy Awards, they can go to Juilliard, they can go to Yale, they become college professors. We had a program that not only trained them in the arts, but we also trained them to get jobs. We had jobs waiting for them. So we would train them, let them volunteer, and then take a job. So that's the kind of strategy that I want to bring to Congress. Let's bring solutions. Let's stop complaining about problems. Let's stop talking about fighting with things that we're not winning. This is a long road. It's not a quick fix. When you're developing educational programs, you have to look at the long term, not the short fix. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. The next question for all of our candidates deals with the priorities in federal spending. Of course, in recent years, we've seen millions of taxpayer dollars directed towards all kinds of things, commercial developments, entertainment projects, and so on. And those projects can be great, but many families in District 24 continue to struggle with rising housing costs, economic uncertainty, and underfunded public schools. So, as a member of Congress, how would you work to ensure that federal resources prioritize working families in this community through investments in education, affordable housing, and just economic opportunity overall? We'll start with you, Mr. Meek.
So I think in recent years, we've seen our political leaders finance the wrong priorities. From the World Cup to Formula One to brand new stadiums that none of us are ever going to be able to afford to actually go to, instead of our streets, our schools, our young people. We need to ask ourselves, okay, is this a problem of us facing our priorities, or is it the fact that we just have the wrong leaders? I think it's the latter, and that's why I'm running, because we can't afford to continue on this path any longer. We need someone who's actually going to be accountable to us and not to the special interests that are funding their campaigns. We need someone who's actually going to show up when it matters and not just during election time. We need someone who understands these issues. And I've been fortunate enough to work on Capitol Hill and work at the White House under the Biden-Harris administration on these exact issues that we're talking about this afternoon. But believe me, I can use those skills on behalf of this community as soon as I get to Washington. I think we need someone who's going to be ready on day one to confront these issues, and I am your candidate. So ultimately, I mean, this conversation needs to be about us holding our elected leaders accountable. Let's remind them who's boss on August 18th.
Mr. Moise.
I'm all for fiscal responsibility. In fact, as of yesterday, the national debt is $40 trillion. And it's projected in 10 years is going to be $54 trillion. And you know what? Still, our community is not being served. Let me give you a classic example of waste. For healthcare, the GDP is 17% or $5 trillion. This is an economy into an economy. A lot of that is waste, fraud, because you have people with no clinical experience handling all of that. That's why it's important to have somebody who understands the process, who understands the healthcare business to really help the system. Number two, give me a second. We have education is so crucial for young people. The education is the basis for opportunity. So we need to create opportunities for young students, for others to learn. And we have HBCUs. They need to be funded so all across the board we have excellent education for them, and then so it can have a high-paying job. So when I go to Washington, I make sure that it's more efficient, that we cut the fat, so we really can use the money for our community.
Mr. Monestein.
Some people may wonder why is it that I was able to accomplish so much in this district at the time when I was in the county commission. It's because I had a plan. And as Commissioner Holness, Mayor Holness stated earlier, I remember the teaching of Commissioner Moss and Commissioner Jordan They told me when I got to the county commission, learn how to count to 7 out of 13, 7 out of 13, so you can implement your plan. And that's exactly why I created the Chairman for Prosperity Initiative when I became chair. And some of these plans are still being implemented today in our district, including $126 million invested in our district that's still being implemented when we wanted to bring sewer line to our community. And as such, what I want to say, there are some priorities that I'm carrying to Congress, emulating what I did in District 2. First, we need to have a plan that builds family up. We do so by paying for education and paying for retraining. Second, allowing people who are willing and able to pay their rent, which is $3,000 to $4,000 a month, to switch these individuals from renters to homeowners by creating a new program that pays, that allows them to pay only 3% mortgage. And the details will come later. And the last thing I'd say is that we have to ensure that small business continue to get assistance.
Mr. Modestine, thank you.
My plan and the county commission is still doing right now.
Thank
you so very much.
Ms. Brown.
So this is where I'm going to come in at. My first 100 days in Congress, we're going to go in and we're going to cut the red tape. That's what we're going to do. Cut the waste, fraud, and abuse. My first 100 days in Congress, we're going to go in and we're going to change it at the federal level where we can bring capital back to the entrepreneurs here in this district because they don't want to invest in us. Everybody knows they do not want to invest in us. I've been to different forums, I've been around, okay, not just in our black demographic district. I've been around. And the investment in this community is out of hand. It's out of hand. In order for this to happen, as I stated before, and I'm going to continue to say this, my first 100 days in Congress, I am donating my entire congressional salary to this district. This is how serious I am. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. We cannot keep allowing for this to actually happen. They giving money, the credit score has to be changed. We cannot keep on allowing this to happen. In order for that to happen, we're gonna have to take it to the federal level that we can bring more money back to this district by giving it to the people.
Ms. Brown, thank you. Mr. Davis.
You know, one of the things I saw when I was a kid, there was a model that said, here's the new 62nd Street corridor. And on that model was the Cultural Arts Center. I met Carrie Meek in that room, and she told me, yes, Marcia, they're building a Cultural Arts Center. I said, I sure would like to work there. I got an opportunity to. There was 2 directors before me. There was money spent with Model City did not go exactly where it needed to go. And that's one of the critical things about money. You need to go where it's supposed to go and do what it's supposed to do. There's money coming from the federal government to help these small, what we call impoverished communities. That money needs to be watched, make sure that it's spent appropriately, and it's not being misused. If I go to Congress, I'll make sure that happens.
Mr. Davis, thank you. Mr. Gilbert?
Well, as a county commissioner, one of the things I did was focus on resources. And so, as a county commissioner, I got $25 million to invest in a performing arts center in Miami Gardens, something that had never been done before in our entire area. We're rebuilding the Country Club Miami's golf course. We're putting septic tanks for free in people's homes. We erased Opelika's debt, which was to the county, which is why they are now a substantially more successful city. I invested in small businesses, CBOs. I paid for scholarships because I understood that folks couldn't afford daycare. So we actually gave them scholarships to daycares in our community. During COVID, we took the money that was assigned to my district and I invested in restaurants in my district to feed residents in my district. I understand what it is to prioritize spending. In the federal government, one of the things that we have to focus on is that folks come to our communities all the time and talk to us about jobs. I want us to have good jobs, y'all. But I need us to start businesses. I need us to invest in businesses. We are recreating the cycle of poverty in a significant way because they only talk about jobs. Look, one of the most important things that I put on my website was SBA 2.0. I want to refocus the SBA. They have great programs. They don't just come to us. I want us to localize where there's been significant poverty so that we can actually take the people in those areas, allow them to start businesses in those areas, create jobs in those areas, and lift those areas up. Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
So we're talking about the federal government, America, that has the richest country in the world. And we're having a discussion on priorities of what and how we should be putting money back into your pockets. This country have spent billions and trillions of dollars of a never-ending war. And if we could spend money on war, we should be able to find the dollars to make sure they can reach back into your pockets. If we can pay these unconstitutional tariffs that the Supreme Court have made clear are unconstitutional, we should be able to put that money back into your pockets. There's a bill right now, Representative Kuehler, out of Texas. It's called the American Consumer Tariff Rebate Act, where it takes individuals who live under $400,000 within their household and $125 per child, that puts money back into your pockets of these unconstitutional tariffs, and it does it immediately. Why? Because we shouldn't have been paying that in the first place. The second thing is, on day one, I will sign on to Congressman Kuehler's bill and then work with Senate colleagues to bring that into fruition. It reminds me of the same thing as the bill that I filed in Tallahassee, which was the People's Relief Act, was to ensure that individuals in your household, that money's come back to you, although it didn't get a hearing because it's a Republican-led legislature. It is the same concept, because if we can spend money on unnecessary things, we should be able to spend money to make sure that it reaches you, your pocket, and in your household. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, thank you. The last question I'd like you, all of you candidates, to address, since we're talking about money, is money. And more specifically, the money that goes into your campaigns, and what rules you have in terms of whose campaign contributions you accept. What principles guide your decisions about whose campaign contributions to accept, and how can voters be confident that if elected, your decisions will always put the interests of the people of District 24 ahead of any donor or special interest? Oh, y'all like that question, huh? Mr. Monestein, we'll start with you on that one.
Well, being someone who has served in office before, I believe I had the same opportunity to have a PAC that received funding from whomever, but I knew honestly, in 2.5 months since the Congresswoman resigned, I wasn't going to have the time to diagnose and study specifically day by day who gives me what. So I decided against that. I decided not to have a PAC. I decided to run my campaign based on the service rendered to my community before that. I decided to run my campaign collecting $5, $10, $20, and a couple of $3,500 from wealthy individuals like Woody that gives me $3,500 in the community. So that's what I've been able to do, and so far I've not raised a lot of money, but I think I'm being competitive in this race with the folks that have millions of dollars and who are able to be self-funded. And because I understand how important it is to run a campaign based on trust, I didn't want to risk running a campaign where the district is asking questions about whether or not I'm able to serve them with all my heart and not behold to whomever funded my campaign. So it's a hard decision to make, but at the end of the day, I'm glad I did that, because if I'm able to win, I'll be able to serve you wholeheartedly. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Brown.
Well, I'm self-funded, and I have rejected endorsements because I don't believe in what these people are saying. Just because I chose to be a Republican, because my values align with most of what they say. We can disagree when it comes down to politics, and we have our difference of opinions. However, when you look at my FEC reports, you will see that all of my money has come from myself, me investing in myself, family members, and friends. I have not accepted anything from the Republican Party. I will not be picked, I will not be brought, I will not compromise my values, and I will continue to immaculate kingdom principles all the way up until the hill. So we can know, you guys can know exactly who you're voting for, where the money is going, where the money is coming from. I believe that should be a right. Everyone should know where your money is coming from. So no, I have not agreed, I have not accepted, and I do not look forward to doing that. Thank you.
Mr. Davis.
So there's a scripture that says, he that ruleth over men must be just, ruling in the fear of God. I've been just for 43 years at the center, working to develop the young people, working with the older people, working with the teens, whomever, so they can realize their dreams. No money has gone in my pocket. I'm unbought and not for sale. I have worked so that it will benefit and to serve others. I will continue to do so if elected to Congress. I will make sure that you get what you deserve because Davis will deliver.
Mr. Gilbert.
You know, I would just say, look at my history. Listen, I get the narrative that's popular in politics, that if someone gives you money, they own you. Listen, the Dolphins gave me money. I still sued the Dolphins. Like they didn't, we forget that when I became mayor, we didn't have control over zoning and code enforcement in Dolphins. The first county commissioner who incorporated the city, Betty Ferguson, she did nothing about it. The first mayor did nothing about it. The current county commissioner who was there, Barbara Jordan, she did nothing about it. They supported my campaign for mayor, and I still sued the Dolphins and the county, and I actually won. Look, you don't get to buy me. What you get to do is you get to contribute to a campaign of someone who's going to be thoughtful and reasonable and transparent. You ask me a question, I answer the question. I tell you what my goals are, and then I go do it. That's been the legacy of service. So if you look throughout everyone's campaigns, you're going to have folks who receive money from Tallahassee folks. I don't think Chevron's bought. Kendrick, all of his father's clients, lobbyists from Washington, they've all given him money. I'm going to assume that he is not bought. What I assume is that if you say that you're going to stand up for people, you're going to stand up for people. I've said that I'm going to stand up for people, and in every instance I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Mr. Jones?
So I have been supported by many organizations over the past 14 years of being in the legislature. But here's what I will tell you. If you check my record, my voting record, I have voted against every last one of them, every single time. Why? Because I'm not bought, and that's how I have always moved in this Florida legislature, every single time. If you look at this election right now, I have over 700 contributors who have given to this campaign. And it's not $3,500. It's not $1,000. It's not even $500. It's people who have given $5, $10, $1 to this campaign. Have other corporations given? Yes. Have I voted against their interests? Yes. Have I had to send money back? Yes. Will I continue to do that? Yes. Because that's the values in which I stand on. The last thing I'll say is this. You will see that in every last one of us in our campaigns, there might be individuals or organizations that where you don't agree with, or individuals might not agree with those individuals. Same here. It's how those dollars are spent. You might hear in a few minutes about dollars being taken out from GEO, or dollars being taken out from Alligator Alcatraz. But here's what I want you all to do. Do your research on that, so you understand that those dollars did not come in this campaign. Those dollars came in 2020 and 2021, when it had nothing to do with Alligator Alcatraz. It had nothing to do with what we're talking about today. So I want to make sure I kill the elephant in the room before it's about to come up in a few minutes. Thank you so much.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Meek.
Well, let me tell you, a hit dog will holler. And, I'm glad we're having this conversation. And, Oliver, since you mentioned my name, I'll mention yours. You have traded your vote on the county commission for years and years, not just with the Dolphins, but with CDR, the folks that built Alligator Alcatraz. You took $70,000 from them. I think it was just last year. Correct me if I'm wrong on the dates. Beyond that, you've taken votes where you approved projects, and the CEO of that company gave you an $8,000 check the same day. So you're really no stranger to trading your vote for money, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. But let me tell you something. When I get to Congress, we're going to end this culture of money for votes. We're going to end this culture of putting profits before people. We're going to ban super PACs in this country so that we end the influence of millionaires and billionaires in our elections. And we need to make sure that we ban stock trading for members of Congress. Oliver, you've seen your net worth increase from somewhere around $12,000 when you entered office to $800,000. You know, I'm trying to still figure that out myself. How did that happen? Maybe it's because you doubled your salary. You gave yourself a $60,000 raise while you're in office. Well, the rest of us are struggling. You know, we got to hold our elected officials accountable, people. This is our chance. This may be our last chance to send them a reminder that power belongs with the people.
Thank you, Mr. Meek. Mr. Moise, I'll give you an opportunity, but I gotta give.
I'm going to go ahead and take my chance to respond right now, Jim. I'm going to take my chance to respond right now. I appreciate that. So there's a couple of things. No. He said we'd have a chance to respond.
I think we have to give Mr. Moise an opportunity to speak, and then I'll give you your
Can
chance.
you give me my chance to respond? Thank you.
Yes.
It is getting hot here. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand that raising money is a necessary skill for Congress. In fact, when you get elected as a freshman, you have calling time to raise money for the party. So you need to learn the skills to raise money. In terms of me, I've been raising money, but when somebody approached me and tell me, well, what's in it for me? And I told them, look, keep your money, because this is the money that I like to use to help my campaigns. But if there's no quid pro quo, okay, that's why I fund my campaign myself. Now, there's a partner of mine that I call for a contribution, and he told me, Rudy, look, Oliver is running, and I have a contract with the county, and I need to take care of him. I said, that's fine. But his team is so aggressive. He says they want money for me, for my mother, for my father, for my cousin, for my sister, and I have to deliver because he's going to be there until January. I don't lose my contract. I said, oh my goodness. I said, man, do what you got to do. But this is to show you, I don't like that intimidation. You know, I mean, you have to put pressure on people for donation because they have some kind of return later. This is not the way it should be. You contribute money for a cause without really any specific reason. And that's why I don't take money any from PACs, because I want to be an independent voter.
Mr. Moise, thank you. Mr. Gilbert, we promised you a chance to respond.
Thank you very much. You know what? So in the first year in law school, actually the first day, they said false in one, false in all. It's a rule that we take when we're listening to people who are testifying. And so I appreciate Kendrick's remarks, but they were lies. They were lies. But let me start with the first lie. The first lie is when he stood up here and he said he was born and raised here. No, he was born here. He graduated from Georgetown Day School, $55,000 a year. His parents paid for that in Washington, D.C. The second lie is that he's been a lawyer for 3 years. The Florida bar says you've been a lawyer for 1 year. But see, when someone lies about stuff like that, the third lie, CDR, I traded my vote for them. CDR has never had an issue before the county commission. Literally never had an issue before the county commission. Literally, we've never voted on anything in the county commission for CDR McGuire. They're a state contractor. They're a federal contractor. They're not a county contractor. There's never even been a vote. When people have to talk about other people, I understand the problem. The problem is he has his grandmother's legacy, his father's name, and no record. That's the problem. I have an actual record, a record of actual achievement. So he can't attack those things. So he's going to attack my character. But listen, I've come this far. I transformed the whole city. I walk through people with more steel than you. I won't be stopped.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Thank you. I think we've got time to take a couple of questions.
Do I have a moment to respond again since he...
Well, we can't go back and forth here. We can't go back and forth. I'm sorry. We can't go back and forth.
Relax. We're talking real fast right now.
We're going to take a question or two from the audience, and then we're going to let you guys hash it out.
First of all,
Okay, can you guys put down the mics, please?
Okay.
Yeah, so we,
I'm
yeah.
gonna respect you right now, but I should get an opportunity to respond.
We can't allow that. I'm sorry. No. Okay. Do we have a couple of questions from the audience? A question or two? Okay. Question one, and we're going to ask you guys to limit your answers now to just 60 seconds, please, very briefly. What do you plan to do about the dangers of data centers, including massive energy and water consumption and pollution? Mr. Moise, we'll start with you.
Yeah, it is an issue, and I think that the location of that is very, very important. So it needs to be localized, and I think data centers are important because of what they do. However, I think that the need to see the location away from the city, away in some area where you don't have to use the excess water, excess electricity, that should be going to the people. So the location to me is important.
Mr. Monestein.
I'm going to do what I did when we were building this industrial park on 119th Street and 22nd Avenue, and also the housing. Always keep the community at the table. That's the first thing. Always keep the pertinent industry that has oversight over these issues, the organizations where people have the knowledge and advocate for or against some of these projects at the table. Because I'm not a scientist, though I think they are necessary, but we need to keep the competent people at the table to help make that decision. And when we do that, everybody wins. Thank you.
Ms. Brown.
Well, I don't agree with data centers right now. As I stated with you guys, I come from a corrupt state where data centers didn't do anything but rise costs. So as of right now, no. Until we get our economy back to where it needs to be, making it affordable again, because it was once affordable, then we can talk about data centers. But coming to the table right now talking about data centers, no. In order for the water consumption, we're going to have to go back. We're going to have to invest in infrastructure when it comes down to water. That's what's going to have to happen. Nothing else is not going to help. I'm here to tell you guys the truth of what needs to happen in order for anything to go forth. Data center is a no for right now. No.
Mr. Davis.
I concur. Data center should be a no. We need to find a more effective, efficient way of doing things. We need to delay this until we come to a place where we can do this without affecting the environment.
Mr. Gilbert.
We can't move forward with data centers in urbanized areas right now. One of the challenges with data centers, and let's be honest, everybody who's holding up an iPhone right now, everybody who searches, Instagram, social media, any ChatGPT, Claude, you're using data centers. The processing is needed. But what we can't do is have them using the same electricity that we use, because that actually drives up our cost. What we can't do is have them actually using the same water that cools their systems, because that actually pollutes our water. So I understand that technology is important, and we're gonna have to find a way forward, but we can't have them in urbanized areas actually corrupting our water supply, because we have limited water supply here in South Florida especially, and we especially can't have them driving up our electricity costs, because electricity costs are high enough already. Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
I voted no on data centers in Tallahassee, and I'll keep voting no on data centers, and I'll tell you why. Because the data centers where they want to build them are in our community. If they want to build data centers, they should go somewhere else and build them, but seemingly they want to come in our community and build these data centers. And I will agree with County Commissioner Gilbert when it comes to the cost that it comes to your homes, to your businesses, all those are going to go up. And they have not even talked about how they will contribute to make sure that those costs come down. So not only it's a no now for me now, and it will continue to be a no later as long as they're continuing talking about building them in our community. If they want to build them, go to Coral Gables, go to the other communities, but don't come to Miami Gardens and all the other communities to build data centers. So I'm a no on that.
Mr. Meek.
So I would absolutely support a moratorium on data centers until we're able to set some guardrails as to how data centers are built, where they can be built, and the energy that they consume. We know that they consume more energy than some cities in this country. We need to make sure that our ratepayers that are around these data centers aren't picking up the costs for these tech billionaires that are putting the data centers in their communities. We also need to ensure that those data centers are running on clean energy, clean, green energy, not coal power plants, not natural gas, but renewable energy, something that won't pollute our environment and pollute our communities. And data centers also use an incredible amount of water to cool their systems. So we're talking about servers that are constantly running hot. They basically put that excess hot water into our rivers, into our streams. They kill our fish, and they harm our communities. Again, that's why I support a moratorium on AI data centers until we're able to set those guardrails.
All right, we want to thank all of the candidates for their time and their energy. Before you stand up, I just want to say, first of all, we appreciate the spirit that all of you brought to this forum. It's not a debate, it was a forum. For the most part, y'all kept it cool. For a minute there, I thought I was going to have to go, let's get ready to rumble. But y'all brought the temperature back down. But seriously, we should all be, again, I've said this before, I'll say it again, thankful that we've got this quality group of people ready, willing, and able to represent this community. Thank you all.
In all fairness, I think that Meek should really have the ability to answer your question. That's not fair. I think that he was attacked. I think that he should get 30 seconds to rebut that.
Well, in all fairness, I actually responded to an attack. I actually responded to an attack. And so if we're gonna do
Just
that,
a few seconds ago, you just called me grasshopper.
I think-
grasshopper.
I think we've.
It's okay. Just relax.
Yeah.
Oliver, relax.
I think everybody had said their piece on it, and I think the audience would agree that we don't want to prolong this and make this just a debate between two candidates. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much.
Yes.